I got that California. I got that California.
The World Martial Arts Tournament, originally called the Tenkaichi Budokai, which translates to the #1 Under Heaven Martial Arts Gathering, is a competition that used to occur every 5 years before the 21st Martial Arts Tournament, a place where the world's greatest fighters is declared. A great source for pride for any student or master to prove they were the best. Aside from the prestigious title of World Martial Arts Champion, the winner of the tournament receives a considerable amount of 500,000 zeni, which was increased to 10 million zeni later on as a prize. To put it in perspective, in the super exciting guide character volume, Toriyama tells us he likes to think of a zeni being the same value as yen to keep things simple, and then goes on to explain about the price of hoi poi capsules being implemented in air cars and houses. However, it is still notable to mention that Jacko the Galactic Patrolman manga, which is set in age 739, explains how Capsule Corp obtained the technology for flying cars. In it, we're told a zeni is worth around 1.5 yens. But assuming 1 zeni is 1 yen like Toriyama said, the prize competition is around 93,000 United States dollars at this point of time. Which, to be honest, is not that worth it considering some of the stuff you would go through just to reach the top. But I guess this is more reason to suggest how, despite the prize being so minuscule in the beginning, it shows that fighters are not in it for the fame and money only. Or at least that used to be the case. Anyways, I'm not making this video to suggest what career path you should take, but rather we are going to discuss the Hall of Fame and who won each competition in the Dragon Ball show. I'll also be counting different events from Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super which had tournaments. Where else to start other than the original GOAT, the previous strongest fighter alive on Earth, Moten Roshi, the winner of the 13th iteration of the competition, cementing his place as the strongest fighter in his time. He later on, under different circumstances and motivations, enters as Jackie Chun in order to test his pupils, and defeats Goku in the final match in an iconic clash between student and master, giving him his second title. What's really interesting about Roshi's 2 championship title is that he's likely won both tournaments against previous students. As he mentions in episode 27 of the original Dragon Ball series, his attack, the Thunder Shock Surprise, is the same technique he used when he fought and beat Goku's grandfather. Given the nature of this attack and how dangerous it is not beyond the realm possibility to suggest he used it in the same context that he did when fighting his grandson. Another previous champion is King Chappa, a highly reputable martial arts master with an unknown date to his championship title. A fighter so skilled that he could move his hands so fast that it appears he has 8 of them. He uses this as a perfect way to attack and defend. But what's interesting about his title is that he's won without taking a single hit. Truly something to brag about. Of course, that's until he had to face a super-powered space monkey that completely shatters him. In fact, Goku's sheer presence obliterates King Chappa. He loses the fight the moment that he has stepped the ring against Goku. The last unknown title, or rather 2 titles, goes to Devilman. Despite his appearance of looking like he's wearing a cheap cosplay suit, this guy is actually very dangerous and possesses one of the most dangerous techniques in the Dragon Ball universe, where he uses a person's own negative thoughts into a destructive beam that could easily destroy them. Of course, like most pre-Dragon Ball fighters, they're all rendered fodders when meeting Goku. Like I've mentioned earlier, the 21st Budokai Tenkaichi was won by Master Roshi, whom re-enters in the 22nd in order to re-evaluate his students again. He loses to Tien in the semi-finals by forfeiting the match. The final was concluded with Tien winning barely as Goku falls seconds before he does. Fast forward 3 years, the 23rd tournament is graced by an adult Goku who completely annihilates and outclasses all his opponents including Tien. He faces the final villain of the original Dragon Ball series, Piccolo. He beats him in what I think is Goku's toughest and most brutal fight. Despite being incapacitated with both his legs and arms broken, in addition to a huge hole in his chest, Goku managed to defeat Piccolo through sheer willpower. Now only if Dragon Ball Super Goku could remember what that meant. Now, it has been alluded that the 24th World's Martial Arts Tournament was won by Mr. Satan in the anime. Videl comments on how a man called Goku is the previous title holder, and her father is the reigning champion. This iteration was also the first to introduce the Young Division that features Videl as the winner. Speaking of which, the 25th iteration of the competition that marks the return of the Dragon Team crowns Trunks as the champion for the Junior Division. The Adult Division was won totally and fairly by Mr. Satan when he totally beats up Android 18. The 26th up till the 31st was also won by none other than Mr. Satan off screen, who beats Majin Buu in all these finals by totally outclassing him. I mean, obviously. However, a notable exception was the 28th iteration, which takes at the end of the Dragon Ball Z show at age 784. That tournament was also won by Mr. Satan after Goku left the arena with Oob to train him. The last competition we saw in the Dragon Ball timeline was when Oob fought Mr. Satan in Dragon Ball GT. Oob loses against Mr. Satan in such an emotional fashion after laying a beatdown to the world champion. Oob, who has just fused with Majin Buu, has his body paralyzed by Buu, leaving Mr. Satan with an opening to fight back and knock the challenger off the ring, cementing him as the world's greatest fighter of this competition, with 8 world championships thus far. However, if you thought that was impressive, then you should know that that's not the end of the video, because we still have other major tournaments to count in this series. Although the Cell Games was not an official Budokai Tenkaichi, however, Cell himself stated that he would revive the World Martial Arts Tournament. Obviously, Cell Games was officially won by the great Mr. Satan. However, the true winner is actually Gohan, beating Cell in an epic Kamehameha clash against Cell. Gohan's streak of winning doesn't end there, as he also wins the Intergalactic World Tournament in Movie 9 against Bojack. And as you may have already guessed, the title has instead went to Mr. Satan, who steals yet another one of Gohan's accomplishments. Well, to be fair though, Gohan does even the score with Mr. Satan. Another competition that should be mentioned is the Other World Tournament, which takes place after the events of the Cell Games. Goku fights against strong, privileged fighters that were able to keep their bodies after death and trained for thousands of years. Goku completely toys and breezes through the competition as if they were nothing and beats Pikkon in the final. However, due to the rules of the ceiling being part of the floor, both were disqualified and the tournament was called off as a draw. Now moving on to Dragon Ball Super in the Universe 6 arc, which is a conflict fought between the gods of destruction of Universe 6 and 7, using teams of 5 to face off in a World Martial Arts Tournament type contest. The winner of that is Universe 7, with Munaka as the winner and Hit as the runner-up. At the end of Dragon Ball Super, as most people remember, an entire arc was made on the Tournament of Power, with Universe 7 winning and Android 17 being the last person standing.
In my city, I'm a young god. That pussy kill be so vicious.
So that is basically every major tournament event in the Dragon Ball series. Now I'm aware there are some other unofficial competitions and variants to the Tenkaichi Budokai, such as the Fortune Teller Baba tournament, but I felt this video already covered the Hall of Fame. With that being said, who do you think is the greatest fighter of all time? And no, please don't tell me it's Whis or the Grand Priest. I'm talking about a competitor, not a teacher. So factor in skill and strength and tell me who is the GOAT in your opinion. I'm pretty sure we'll all agree it's Mr. Satan anyways.
Mr. Satan is great.
I wish I were him.
But anyways guys, it's good to be back and I really hope everyone is in good health. I know what's going on in the world is not easy, especially if it's affecting your mental state, so please take care of yourselves and I hope this video puts a smile into your face. And if it did, you can put a smile on my face by liking this video, commenting on it, and subscribing. Also, please follow me on Twitter. Thanks.